I can teach you how to bewitch the mind and ensnare the senses. I can tell you how to bottle fame, brew glory, and even put a stopper in death. Then again, maybe some of you have come to Hogwarts in possession of abilities so formidable that you feel confident enough to not pay attention.
RaisiM1222
IMO show.
Yeah.
It's your host, or hopefully a friend, if you have been listening to the other podcasts and enjoy them. Because I enjoy you for
friend.
Yeah, exactly. Enjoying you for listening, because this is just casual conversation, and
right.
And you, the listener, are a part of it, and we welcome you to a special edition version of the IMO show, which is there will be many special edition episodes on various movies, books, songs, albums, sports, what have you. But we're going to kick it off with Harry Potter series of novels, and I have a guest with me who's just itching to talk, as he is interjecting in a good way. Introduce yourself.
My name is Cam McCormick.
Though we will be specifically talking about Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, which is the first book in the series. Later episodes, special edition episodes, will have the other 6 books with different guests. But we're going to focus on the first book, but we will touch upon the other books because these novels are all within the series are all interconnected in various ways. But if you don't really have time, or you're like, I don't want to read these books, I don't really have time, but I want to hear about people talking about them, feel free to continue listening to the podcast. And obviously, if you're a huge fan, like my man Cameron here, and you've been there from day one, we implore you to just, listen to the podcast and hear our thoughts. And also, if you have any opinions or things that we didn't cover within book 1 specifically, my Twitter, Facebook, email are in the description. Message me.
Leave a comment.
So what do you think was special about this book? And I guess try to jump back to, this is going to be a word question, but jump back to when you first read this book, but try to analyze how you felt with your 21-year-old intelligence, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. Not really, but I got you.
Because I feel like because I read this book when I was 11. So if I was 11, like if I tried to talk about how I felt now, but within my 11-year-old self, it'd be like not as eloquent or articulate.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Right. No, I'm trying to think when I first started to read this. I was probably still in grade school, and I think what was special about this book, the first book, is it kind of introduced you to this whole other world, of where everything is just magical, and probably the most cliche way, to say that. It was just but everything was so awesome. Like you could fly, you could cast spells and have your dishes be done. You had
washing them.
Yeah, exactly. The sponge washes the plate by itself, and then you could be watching TV or whatever else you wanted to do. But I mean, there was just so much. Bertie Blott's every flavored bean, that was tight. There was so much in that whole wizarding world that, like, when you're first introduced to it, it kind of like changes your perspective on everything.
Okay.
I like probably from book 1 on, I just wanted to be a wizard. You know.
Okay.
I was just like, man, being a Muggle it sucks.
Yeah.
You know. I totally wanted everything that they were able to do, all the powers and things like that, and kind of bought into the whole craze of Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Without jumping on the bandwagon, but kind of appreciating it for what it was
from day one.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, nobody had to convince me.
No friends.
Yeah. So
Can't believe I made a Drake reference, but I just did.
Sometimes.
But I see what you're saying.
That's why
cool.
it's special.
Yeah, so it's like you felt like, wow, like my life is boring, because that's kind of what Rowling tries to accomplish within the first few chapters. It's like she shows the reader Mr. Dursley, the most boring guy ever. Like, he's so boring.
Oh yeah, and you just hate him.
Yeah, he's so dull, and the fact that the author juxtaposes him with his sister-in-law or his wife's sister, and kind of how she's like, this witch that can do all these things, and she doesn't dress like everybody else, and she's different, and she represents a world that's just different and unique and whimsical and all these different things. And it's like,
the favorite child.
And you just read that and you're like, that's way better than this boring old Dursley family. Like,
Easily.
And then you start feeling kind of ashamed of yourself. Like, man, I can't fly on a broomstick. I can't, I don't have every flavored bean.
One can only pretend.
I can't do spells, or I can't, go on these adventures. So this book kind of serves as a vehicle to kind of like open yourself to these possibilities.
Right. That's exactly it.
So that's cool. Any moment that jumps out at you from this book, and because the summary didn't cover every single moment.
Oh no.
I mean, there's some really fun. There's some really fun moments in here. And is there anything that personally that you just were like, oh man, I love that moment right there?
I'm not sure if I can call on my favorite moments per se. One of the things that always sticks out to me about the first book is Harry's first awesome Christmas. He comes downstairs and he's like, presents? Like what? What is this? And then
see, that just shows how badly the Dursleys treat Harry.
Right.
Because they don't even give him presents. Like,
I think they give him socks every year or something.
Well, one year it was socks, another year it was just like $1. I mean, it was $1 in British currency, I don't know, 50 pence or I mean, you could Google what that is, because chronologically that gift was given to Harry chronologically within the Harry Potter universe in 1991. So you take 1991 50 pence to what is that in a U.S. currency. Then you take that U.S. currency, what is that in 2014 currency? You can do all that. The point is, it was chump change. It was nothing.
That's, get this out of my face.
So, but you say, when he has that real Christmas where he got a gift. From, I guess, what was it, from, Hermione and Hagrid.
Yeah, he's got
all his friends.
Yeah, he's got an ugly sweater from Mrs. Weasley, with an H on it. And, and he just, he feels like a part of, I don't know, a good life.
Yeah, he has a new family.
Yeah, exactly.
He has a new family.
The Weasleys, and that's awesome. And then Harry goes and says, Happy Christmas, Harry.
Yeah.
And whenever me and my friends would,
that British accent is not half bad.
Oh, I'm killer at British accent. But whenever it was Christmas time, any of my friends who were into Harry Potter would just be like, Harry, Happy Christmas, Cam. Happy Christmas, Peter.
Yeah, it's weird because I know this book was controversial when it came out because, in the Bible, witchcraft is a no-no.
Right.
It's a no-no. And then they celebrate Christmas and Easter in the Harry Potter universe, and that kind of upset, some, devout Christians, and even some friends of mine that, we go to the same church and have the same convictions about just our faith. Some of these friends, they don't want, they don't like Harry Potter. They don't think people should read it, and I totally understand because, it's the focus of it is witchcraft. But at the same time, I think, to me, witchcraft is just more of a plot device, because this book could have been like Ender's Game, where it's like, instead of he's a wizard, oh no, your parents that died to save you were astronauts and they had force powers, like, like it could have been like Ender's Game or Star Wars or something like that, where they have telekinesis or, manipulate gravity powers as opposed to magical powers. And I don't know, it was definitely a controversial thing, but I think, if someone feels offended by some of these story elements of Harry Potter, they're perfectly, have the right to not read it because of that. But I think my opinion, it's kind of like, she's not trying to poke a bear. She's just trying to tell a cool story.
Right.
I don't know if you share that view or if you have any perspective on that. I just wanted to touch on that briefly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, I think it was more so just a book about, that allowed you to imagine, what I'm saying? Like, I never, sat down in my room and whatnot and was like, I don't know, trying to conjure up a potion or something like that, to do anything supernatural. Like, that never even crossed my mind. And I don't think many people, I don't think the majority of Harry Potter fans have ever gone, to such lengths.
Yeah.
I did get a plastic wand, for Christmas or something like that. Just because, like, I like, I like the paraphernalia.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I have a robe and stuff like that.
I mean, I've had friends dress up as Hermione.
Yeah.
For Halloween and with a wand and everything.
Mm-hmm. I was Lee Jordan for Halloween one time.
Okay, that makes sense. But I think, none of these friends who are Christians who dressed up as Hermione before, or I've seen them on Facebook with a Hermione costume or whatever. They're not trying to do spells like that. They're not literally saying, Expelliarmus at my phone, thinking it's gonna fly out my hand. So
right.
I hope not, because I love my phone.
right. So there's no.
And who do you think is the MVP of this book?
That's a good.
So yeah, Harry doesn't count, because that's cheating. You do that. Harry's in. I'm like, he's in the title of the stinking book.
Most definitely. So, aside from Harry, I would say, and people might widely agree with this. It might not be too unpopular, but I think my MVP would have to be, just as I'm recalling it now, Ron, just for the sacrifice that he made in the end of the book, as they're going through all of these security measures to get to the Sorcerer's Stone and try to defeat, again, who Harry thinks is Snape, who he finds out is Quirrell. At one stage, one security measure, I think it was the final one, right before they entered where it was held.
Where Ron gave himself up?
Yeah, when they're
playing to last.
Playing chess?
The second to
was
last.
it second to last? Oh,
the
okay.
last one was the potions. You had to figure out which one could allow you to enter through a locked door. Because if you don't drink a certain potion, that particular door is enchanted in a way that doesn't allow you to get through it.
Oh, okay.
So that's the last one, but the one before that was the chess one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, there you go. Ron makes the sacrifice, and I think, kind of like I was saying earlier, there's like so little violence or anything like that. Like everything's super like, light, and it's it's kind of like introductory. It's a little elementary, if you will.
Oh yeah.
And so for an 11-year-old or 12-year-old like Ron was, at the time, to be like, you know what, I'm gonna do this,
Oh yeah.
And it totally foreshadows on who Ron is as a character. Like
So, you know, we're transitioning into the second part.
Yeah.
We don't have too much to too much in terms of length, but there are some interesting things to talk about. Because you know this book is pretty long, especially for a kid. It's like what 500 pages. So a lot happens in here that we want to touch on. What are some things you think Harry learns in this book that help him in the future installments of the series, like specific to this book?
I think when he realizes at the end of this book that what protected him way back when from Voldemort trying to kill him was his mother's love.
Okay.
And I think he always had like a curiosity about like the wizarding world and like always like digging around in his nose or sticking his nose where it doesn't belong, things like that. I think he always had that, but then once he realized that he actually had a particular quality that was like special and could be used to his advantage. Okay. You know, in the other books, like he, I don't know, at least in my perspective, had a sort of edge, you know. So he was like almost willing to go, you know, and find Voldemort. You know, if he, you know, it worked when he was 0. You know, probably drove him a little bit more.
Sense of resourcefulness, like, and confidence. Like, okay, if I can just really use all the resources at my disposal, like I can do this, or whatever challenge he faces in the future books, like he can kind of have that mindset.
Yeah, and I think like at least for me, like as I was reading the other books, I always thought about how he had this edge over Voldemort. Like you have to think about the situation here. Voldemort was like the most powerful dark wizard, and a baby defeated him. So something like a mother's love, it instantly becomes like that much more significant. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So if you, I don't know, I was like every time I thought about Harry, you know, from then on, I was just like, man, that he actually might win this. You know?
Love.
Yeah.
He has that in his heart. He can hold on to that.
Yeah,
he knows his parents love him.
He had, I don't know, it was like on his skin or something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, destroy Professor Quirrell.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. And definitely like.
Since we're talking about learning, you know, Harry learning things, what would you want to learn the most at Hogwarts? Like, what subject, out of all the subjects that were taught in the series, what would you want to, you know, what would you look forward to the most? Which subject?
So the classes that I can remember are potions, defense against the dark arts, herbology, what's the other one? Divination.
Yep.
Those are the only ones I can remember. Are there others?
There's Muggle Studies, Ancient Runes, Arithmancy. Forget that one. Hermione's the only one I took that one anyway. And then, it's like some weird math stuff. And then, shoot, what was the other ones? That was the only ones I can remember. I feel like there's other ones, but they didn't really touch on them that much. But those are the ones I can remember that I throw out there. Yeah,
I would say, probably, I'm thinking of the 4 that I mentioned. Probably because they stuck out in my mind.
Go with the ones that stick out the most and figure out which is number 1. History of Magic. That's another one.
Oh, yeah. Who cares about history?
Yeah, I know. That's basically the running theme throughout the entire series. History of Magic, so yeah, whatever.
I would say potions.
Okay.
Potions. So useful.
Oh, yeah, it's very, very, very useful. I was just going to say in the earlier question, when I said what did Harry learn in this book that helped him in another book, was the fact that a Bezoar, like I guess the stomach of a goat or whatever, I think they called it a Bezoar. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I know it's spelled Bezoar.
Okay.
And that stone, you know, can like help against most what's the word? Like violent toxins that try to kill you, like or like poisons or things like that that try to kill you. A Bezoar stone can aid in most of those circumstances. And Snape like chastised Harry for not knowing that in the earlier chapter of book 1. Like, oh, like you didn't know that? Oh, I guess you're not the famous.
You didn't know what a Bezoar was?
Guess you're not the famous Harry Potter. So guess you're all hype or whatever. And I'm like, dude, he's 11 years old. But anyway, that's the whole thing. So it's funny because in book 6, Harry remembered that in book 6, and because Ron got poisoned. And he took a Bezoar from Professor Slughorn's office because he took over for Snape, and shoved it in Ron's mouth, and then he just like was able to be hospitalized and treated. And if Harry didn't do that, Ron would have died. So it's like, and it's funny because they reference that late in the later chapter of that book. Like Hermione's like, you know, it's a good thing you paid attention in Snape's class. Like. I'm like, I don't know if that's paying attention or just like...
He probably just caught it.
He probably just remembered it because the moment required it. It's like, well, I either remember this insult from Snape and save my best friend's life, or my best friend's just dead.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, I think potions is very useful. I think it helps because, I mean, it seems like it uses a lot of resources in the world, you know, like plants, metals, and things like that. So, so that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
What's I guess, do you have any memories of a potion in the universe, Harry Potter universe, or just like, or maybe not a specific potion, but maybe just like you saw like, oh, the potions were used this way and it really like made a difference?
Did somebody used a love potion? Okay, so the one in number 2. Wait, in the whole series or just one?
Oh, the whole series. Anything about potions that really stuck out at you, stuck out to you?
The one where Hermione tried to turn the 3 into members of the Slytherin house, and she got turned into a cat.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty cool.
And it was helpful because it was like, okay, like we can disguise ourselves using the potion. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they had used it multiple times. For the series.
So we're gonna switch to the next question, which is how does this fit within the whole series? This one book, what role does this book play, other than kind of the obvious, introductory, role? Like, what other roles do you think this book plays throughout the whole series? How does it connect to the rest of the books?
Well, I definitely think it does lay. I wouldn't even say that it lays like a foundation. I think it just is like really just introduces a lot of things.
Okay.
Kind of scratches this. Like looking back on it, the other books were so rich with like, the whole with like background and things like that. I see a little bit of it, but it's mostly just like Harry just like enjoying himself.
Yeah.
At school, he's got friends and things. And, he joins the Quidditch team. He hates Professor Snape, and eventually they start investigating, what's really important. Like who is Voldemort and the Sorcerer's Stone and things. I think like I was saying about Harry's mom, like the love of Harry's mom, that kind of carries throughout. At least in my opinion. Something that kind of motivated Harry, like, a sense of I can actually, I have the power to defeat Voldemort. I think that carried through. And there's at least one of the foreshadowings of like later books is the Sorcerer's Stone itself. when you eventually realize what it is, it's pretty cool. You know, thinking back, like
it
what, like
signifies.
six
you mean
books
it
or something?
signifies like, okay, this is how they're pitted against each other because Voldemort wants immortality, and he's willing to spit in the face of love to get it. I mean, you know, you're murdering parents of an infant, and then you're murdering the infant. That's pretty much what you're doing, symbolically. And then Harry's kind of like representing love and relationships, and the willingness to forego immortality in order to preserve that love, like to embrace death in order, because he's willing to die for people he cares about. Even in this first book, even though he's 11 years old, and Voldemort, who's significantly older than him, he hates that. He hates the idea of giving up his own life for anybody. So I don't know if is that what you're hinting at, or am I putting words in your mouth?
Not necessarily as deep as that. I just think I like thinking about, because there were a lot of like clues, you know, like the Sorcerer's Stone.
So you're talking about the object itself, not what it represents.
No, just like different things. The Sorcerer's Stone comes up later when you realize, you know, the Sorcerer's Stone, the invisibility cloak, is it called the Elder Wand? Something like that, Dumbledore's wand, like that, wand. Like different stuff like that, and pieces of the story that are
I see,
that that are, you know, kind of thrown out there in the first book. I kind of come together in the other books, so it gives a lot of clues, but I don't think it gives a really like complete picture. I see. So, which is cool because I think you have to read the other series. It's almost like a little tease or a little free sample. Yeah. Perfect way to put it. It's a free sample. It really is.
That's good. Okay. And I guess we'll jump into the third and final personal question, which is because at one point in the first book of this series, Harry stumbles upon, you know, this mirror and in the castle of Hogwarts, and you know he discovers it because he's, you know, goofing around with the invisibility cloak that he got from. You'll eventually find out he got it from Dumbledore, who Harry's dad, gave that to Dumbledore to give to Harry, and he's using it, and he stumbles upon this mirror, and it's called the Mirror of Erised, and it allows you to see kind of your deepest desire in your heart visually as an image in the mirror, so to speak. You know, so if you're like, you know, the 50 Cent line, you know, I love you like a fat kid love cake. You know, if you're 50 Cent and you see the mirror and you see yourself, you know, I guess as a fat kid eating a piece of cake with a beautiful lady that you love just as much as the cake. That's what he would see, not just his own reflection, but just that image in the mirror. And Harry, you know, he stumbles upon the mirror and he sees his parents, his grandparents on both sides, all his relatives and all that stuff that died before his parents died. And so that's why he lives with the Dursleys, is because he has no other relatives. But in the mirror, he sees all of them as if as if they're just there with him. So I ask you, if you were looking at this mirror like Harry, do you have an idea of what you would see given that opportunity?
I think I would have a Nobel Prize.
Okay.
Yeah. In short, I would have a Nobel Prize. I've always been interested in
what?
In medicine. In some capacity.
Cool. Nice.
Medicine or public health, something like that. I've always been interested in helping people out in that way. That's what I'm studying now. Always been my favorite subject. So again, you know, the whole potions class being, you know, one of my favorites. You know, if I could take that now, I would see that, and I think I would just see like myself with my family. You know, my family to be. I'm 21 now, so that's long far off.
So like your own family, you're the patriarch of that family, so to speak.
Yeah, you know, I got 3 kids,
Okay.
You know, and you know, I'm out on.
Personally, I would go with 2. That would be my. I mean, I wouldn't see my future family in the mirror, but if we were talking about, hey, like,
how many kids?
Marriage, families, what would look at 2 kids.
2 kids?
That's it.
Is that your limit?
That's my limit. That's
my
limit.
You won't go any higher, any lower? You want 2 kids?
No, 2 kids exactly. I don't think it's healthy for a kid to be an only child. That's just my opinion. I mean, I know there are only child that enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if I had to choose, like, I have obviously the power to choose to some degree.
That's true.
You know, I'm going to shoot for having my child have a younger sibling. But I don't want too many kids.
Not the same way.
I don't want like 5 kids, man. Some families have like 5. Whew.
Nah, we don't need that.
Like my parents, I have 3 siblings with like the same parents. And I don't know how my parents. Kudos to them. Kudos to my parents for dealing with the 4 of us. Because we were crazy,
man. Some people got it.
But I guess you're saying, hey, you want to have kids?
You're here. Your brothers are there.
Yeah, we made it.
Yeah.
The process was probably taxing on them, but we made it. They're responsible because of that. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad. But you want to do that one day yourself, having a family and all that, and having that accomplishment of the Nobel Prize in the efforts of helping people through their health and medicine and addressing their health needs. Yeah,
absolutely. I think one of my deepest desires is just to use my like my strengths, like aspects of my character, and then my intelligence to its highest capacity. And so I think like doing something in medicine or even like public health. I mean, it doesn't have to be like I don't have to like find a cure for cancer, but something like substantial enough that like I really worked for it and it could just be recognized, you know.
Gotcha.
So cool. Yeah, something like that, and obviously I think that like it's not about the acknowledgement per se. I think it's more so about, you know, that's why like I mentioned my family.
I see.
You know, just knowing that like I'm doing something, you know, really radical with my life. You know, again, like my Christian self, I'm out, you know, helping. I really want to like help a church in a third world country. Move out there at some point down the line.
Yeah.
But so stuff like that, I think would be great.
So it's more of the self-sacrifice. That's your deep desire, to be in an opportunity where you can really give all your efforts to help as many people as possible.
Right. Yeah. That's exactly it. That's probably the deepest desire right there.
Okay. That's cool. I like that. And you know, it's funny because I didn't realize this until 3 or 4 years ago, but the mayor of Reis, Reis' desire is spelled backwards.
Get out.
Yeah. That's why it's called Mayor of Reis, because I guess J.K. Rowling, the author, couldn't come up with a clever way to describe the mayor, so she just took desire and just reversed it.
Dang.
Yeah. And it kind of makes sense because it does show your deepest desire, that mayor.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Man. It's changed my life.
You know, and I don't like the fact that, like, I understand this, but I mean, Dumbledore basically lied to Harry. You find this out in Book 7, Deathly Hallows.
About
that,
what he was.
Because Harry asked him, "Oh, sir, Professor Dumbledore, what would you see in the mirror?" He's like, "What do you see in the mirror?" And he's like,
I would see a pair of socks.
Yeah, it's like he says, you know, I can't do the accent like you, but he says, you know, so many people, you know, they love and respect, you know, me and what I've accomplished, and so I guess because of that, they just give me a lot of books, but for some reason, nobody gives me socks, and it's such a shame. And then he just walks off, and it's just like, all right, you try to be cute to justify lying to a little kid. That's what he's trying to do.
Yo, you have to.
Because what he really saw in the mirror was his younger sister that died when he was 18 years old. That's what he really saw. Ariana Dumbledore. Dumbledore's name is Albus Dumbledore, and then his younger brother is Aberforth. They're all A's children, as their parents are trying to be cute and do the A thing.
You know that.
Yeah, you know. It's. I mean,
they do
my parents, like, they were like, my older brothers are K and K. That's their letter that begin names their name.
Yeah.
And then me and my younger brothers R and R. So it's like they're trying to. Yeah, I don't know. I guess parents do that. Maybe I'll do that one day.
Parents do that.
Maybe I'll do that one day.
I actually definitely won't.
Oh, really? You won't be cute with the name?
No, I hate that.
But anyway, Albus Dumbledore's parents did that thing you hate.
Yep,
and
sure did.
you know, his younger sister Ariana died. You know, a very tragic death that would take an incredibly long time to explain. So I'm not going to get into it. But the point is, he still misses her. You know, because you know she's not with him anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's who he sees in there, her alive and whole. That's his deepest desire, to be able to be with her, alive and whole. You know, and that whole bit. Mm-hmm. And I think that, I mean, ultimately, I guess I understand why he lied and didn't tell Harry that, because that would have, one, that's a very long story. Two, it's very depressing. And three, it doesn't really help Harry in his present situation at all. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's just too much to put on an 11-year-old kid.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it does come at an appropriate time in the series.
We are about to end the podcast, sadly enough.
No, don't.
Yeah.
No, don't say it. Don't say it out loud.
Yeah, you know, all good things come to an end.
Oh,
you know,
I just asked you to not say it, and it goes and...
I'm sorry, it's reality.
I'm sorry. You're not sorry.
I love talking about Harry Potter, but, you know, we can't do it all day because, you know, podcasts can't be too long because, you know, people have, like, lives.
People got to go home.
You know, people got to go to work, or people, you know, they got to do this or do that, what have you.
You need to listen to it on a long commute somewhere.
That's true, but you know, you can't listen to us talk for 5 hours. I
can listen to us talk for years and years.
I think you have a bias because I guess you like to hear your voice. See that, Aaron? Okay. Anyway, the last question of the podcast for Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the first part of this multi-part Harry Potter version of my podcast.
Yep. Number one, getting it done.
That's right. Final thoughts on the book. Anything you want to say about the book? It could be as a whole. It could be one particular part we forgot to talk about. Mm-hmm. I kind of want to wrap it up in a sense of like just this book. Let's not try to touch on the rest of the series, but just kind of this book. You know, anything that in your heart that you're burning to say.
Burning on my heart. I forget what I was going to say. You still rolling?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, my lasting impressions of this book is kind of what I was saying earlier. Is it's just awesome.
Okay.
You know, it's really cool to read. You know, especially in one's youth. You know, when your imagination is, I don't know, maybe a little bit stronger than it is when you're, you know, life hits you and stuff like that. I was reading this in like middle school. I think I finished in high school.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I was young. I definitely think it started an interest in the other stories, and so, you know, I mean, without even talking about it, I think it got me really interested in the fantasy series. That was it's like probably my favorite genre.
Yeah.
Of literature, and
gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just had a lasting impression on me, and it's something that I would like even encourage. And I'm gonna want my kids to read it if they're down, you know, if they want to, you know, like what Pop likes.
Oh yeah, that would be great if that were to happen. Like, you'd probably be like super ecstatic.
Oh, most def.
You know, and luckily, you know, thankfully and gratefully, you know, we were able to experience that, because I started when I was 11 and finished when I was 19. And that's basically the track that the protagonist Harry Potter went through. You know, book 1 he's 11, and then the last book he's 17. So it's somewhat similar to that.
Yeah.
For me as a reader.
Right.
So, but that's cool. No, I think it's a beautiful thing. Just this first book, just kind of.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's kind of like going through the photo album, you know, with Oh, my mom loves to do that. I'm sure your mom loves to go through the photo album. Just seeing yourself as a
She likes me.
6-year-old.
She likes me to go through the photo album and be like, "Remember when you were this cute and this?"
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
My mom does the same thing.
Remember that?
It's like, look, you're 9, you're cute.
Yeah.
Now you have facial hair.
Do so much that, Ronaldo.
Oh yeah, my mom doesn't. She's not really a facial hair kind of woman, but not related to Harry Potter at all. But anyway,
We digress.
We digress, and we
As one does. When it's
we
talking about Harry
direct
Potter.
it back onto the main track of Harry Potter, and we thank you for enjoying us for as long as you have.
Deepest gratitudes.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Please continue to listen, comment. My information is in the description. Facebook, Twitter, email, all that stuff. And I'd just like to thank my guest, Cameron, for taking the time to
Oh, no
appear.
problem, man. No problem.
Yeah, appreciate it. Love
down
this
memory
man.
lane.
This guy's, he's one of my boys. We go way back to childhood when we started reading Harry Potter.
Hey.
And thank you for just dispensing your knowledge of Harry Potter and even just things you enjoyed about Harry Potter. And it's cool to just, we have similarities of things that we like, but we also saw different things.
Mm-hmm.
You saw some things, oh, I didn't think you'd know, and then I saw some things you're like, oh, I didn't know. So it's good to have you just on the podcast to talk about Harry Potter. It was a pleasure.
No,
And,
yeah, totally, man. Totally.
So thank you guys for listening. Enjoy your day. Wish you a bright and happy future.